Hello and welcome to the first video of 3 in our training series on using and updating your faculty profile using the Kettering University Faculty Research Profiles platform. So to get started, you'll go to researchprofiles.kettering.edu, and then once you're there, you'll scroll down on your page to either click this area here to log in, or you can scroll down to the bottom and there's another login down here. This will automatically take you through the Kettering authentication login that you're used to. It's the blue login page. So let's go ahead and click to get started. This page is called your Faculty Personal Profile Overview. This is a private page to you just to see what some of the information is that will be on your public profile. And you can scroll down, there's a timeline for different projects. So if you have multiple projects going on, you can enter the year ranges and it shows up as a really nice timeline map for you. If you scroll down further, there's your research network, which is all the people, places, or organizations that you are connected to with your research and your publication. And then down further, there's a little more information about who you co-write or collaborate with on your project, as well as how many outputs and affiliations that you have through the university itself. Scroll back up on the page, and what you'll do from here is click Edit Profile. You can also click My Public Profile, and it'll show you what your page will look like publicly. But let's click Edit Profile. On the page that opens, there are quite a few options here, so we're only going to cover the first handful of them in this video, and each other video to follow will cover different areas. So the first thing that you want to look at is your name. So we put in whatever legal name that the university has for you. If, for example, you go by multiple names, maybe you have 2 first names and 2 last names, you are welcome to add those all in here. So maybe Juan Carlos would be in first names, and then Perez Garcia might be as your last name. And all of those will show up on your profile. My profile editor will look a little different than yours because I am an administrator of the portal. So some of these options might look a little different on your screen. We have automatically set gender to unknown for all of our researchers. We don't need to compile that information. Date of birth, 100% optional, as is nationality. We don't need that for any reason. If, however, you want to add it, you're welcome to do so. Next, under name variant, we have your known as name. So maybe your legal name is up here, but you go by a nickname, or your students know you by a certain name. Maybe you go by Sam instead of Samuel. So you can edit that and have that as your known as name. So if somebody searches that name instead of your legal name, you'll still show up in the platform. And to do that, you would just click edit, and then you could change your names here. Next up is a translated name, which is completely optional. If your name originally comes from another language other than English, you can click edit, and then you can add in the characters that would be correct for your name. Then you would just click update. There's another nice thing that you can do here, which is add name variants. For this, what you can add is a default publishing name. So maybe you go by your first initial and your last name, or your first 2 initials and your last name when you publish. You can add that here. Click create. There's also a drop down here where former name comes up, and that's a really handy one. Perhaps if you've been married or divorced and you've published under a different name, that way you are still findable in our search if you put in a former name. And then again, you would click create. The next one up is your title, which is a little misleading at a glance because it sounds like it's your job title, but actually it's your professional post-nomials. So what you would do is add title and then post-nomial title, designations. We prefer that you just keep it your post-nomial so that it does only show the same thing on everyone's profiles, just for continuity. So what you would do if you already have one added and you want to add something else to it, or if it's not correct, just click edit, and then you would put in the letters for your highest degrees earned. You're welcome to add multiple. I know we have some who have a PhD and a JD or a DBA. By all means, feel free, separate them by commas, and then just click update. All right, scrolling down a little bit further, you can see there's an ID here. If you have IDs already set up, please do not edit or delete them. These are for the backside of our platform, just to make sure that there's continuity with your profile and with our update. So please leave those if you have them. But what you can do if you want to is add additional IDs. It defaults to employee ID. We have no need to do that, so that's up to you if you want to add that. But what you can do is click the arrow to open up the menu, and then there are other options. So if you have a Mendeley profile ID, research map ID, or a Scopus author ID, by all means add those there. That'll link onto your account. So what will happen is that a link will show up on your public profile that will have those different IDs attached to it. So you can click on it. So like if you had a Scopus, you can click on the Scopus link on your public profile and it'll take you to your page there. So it can be really handy, especially if you're on multiple platforms as a researcher. Okay, and then you would click create if you wanted to add that. I'm just going to click cancel. Next up is adding an ORCID ID. If you have one, by all means, please add it. It's really nice to have as many researchers as possible connected through this platform. So you can click on add existing ORCID, and it shows you here to put it in this particular format of 4 numbers, a dash, 4 numbers, dash, 4 numbers, dash, 4 numbers. So 16 digits total. Do not add the URL for your ORCID ID, only the numbers themselves. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Next up is your profile photo. We would love to have photos on here. It's not necessary. Mine already has one in here, but if you wanted to change your photo, you can either delete it or edit it. Most of the photos that we have found through the kettering.edu webpage and just copied them in here. But by all means, please change it if you would like. You can click show. If you need to edit it or delete it, what you can do is click edit. Make sure that when you add a photo to be shown on your page, like you can see over here on the left-hand side, you click portrait. Otherwise, it just doesn't show up there. You can add a copyright on there or a caption if you wanted to. The alt text is handy. So if someone is using a screen reader, if they're visually impaired, it'll just tell you what they're seeing. But there's portrait, gallery, image for research interest. Those will display in different areas. But for your main photo, click portrait, and then you would click update. Next up, we have the links portion, and this is where you can add all kinds of links. You can see mine here is a LinkedIn, but there are other options. So if you click add link, there's an entire page really just kind of devoted to this. So you can add in any URL you want, whether it's like a personal website, a different research page. Maybe if you have Grant Forward, you can link it to your Grant Forward page. So you would put in the URL, the text that you want that to display. So for example, one of our professors links to their personal blog and they put the name of the blog there. And then there's a description option, totally, optional. You don't have to put anything there if you don't want to. But then what you can choose, if you want an icon to show up on your page for that particular platform, you can choose one of these options. So LinkedIn will show a small LinkedIn icon on your page that is clickable and will take a viewer right to your profile there. The same with Mendeley, Facebook, Twitter. All of these options here will have the icon. Otherwise, you can leave it as no value and none of that will show up, but the text that you put here will show up, and then you would click create. You can add as many links to your page as you want to. We don't have a limit on that. So I'm going to click cancel. And then the last portion that I wanted to show you will be associated documents. So to add associated documents, you can click add document. From there, you'll see that there are 2 options. You can have one file for each of those. So you can add a general file, whatever it is, you can add that file there, or you can add a CV. So for this, I'm just gonna go ahead and add my latest version of my own resume. So I'm gonna upload that file. It can take all different kinds of files, but PDF is generally the best. You can add the name and then click create. And what this will do is then it'll scan the document and then add it as a clickable link on your page. Sometimes these don't show up immediately. Most changes that you make to your profile are immediate as soon as you hit save at the bottom of your page down here. But sometimes the documents and the photos can take up to 24 hours to appear. So that is it for this particular video. In our next video, we're going to cover the next sections on your profile, including organizational affiliations, which is the organization you work for and what department, both internal and external, your about section and its many options, and then academic and professional qualifications. So I hope that this helps, and we look forward to helping you in video number 2.